job I want to get on and do today is fit some rubber matting into this floor. It really needs doing because I've been using it. Obviously it's going to start picking up scratches and start getting damaged soon. So I've got my battery tray cover as well. I've got to bolt that down. I've got to bolt down where the original brakes top up reservoir would have been. Obviously it's not there now, so I've just got to bolt that down over that. Then I'm going to put some nice rubber matting over the top. I've got some ribbed 3mm rubber matting. I want to put that down and then it will sort of protect it all really well. I do like all this painted metal on display and I intend to keep most of it. I just want to really put matting down in the floor area, and they normally fit mats all the way up to here, but I don't want to do that. I keep catching my foot in the corner just under that bag, just on the corner, and I'm going to just put a little bit of a pad of rubber there just to stop it from hitting. But I would like to retain that inner tub because I think that shape looks really nice, and I don't really need to protect you know, all the way up here like they normally do, because it's just in the corner I catch my heel. So I'm going to make a template up out of masking paper, masking tape, and get it fitting really well. So make a template up, make it fit really well, then carefully peel it out. Then I can flip it up the other way, overlay it onto the rubber matting, cut it out around the template, and then all going well it will fit back in really nicely. And I thought I'd just shoot a quick video of this just to sort of, you know, help anyone else out that's thinking of doing something similar. I'm making myself up a template, masking paper and masking tape. I've kind of gone around the edges 2 or 3 times to get a bit of a build up, so there's a bit of strength there, and fitted it as accurately as I possibly can. And then I'm going to take this off as carefully as possible, flip it over and draw around it on the back of the rubber matting. Hopefully I get something that fits fairly well. So I've had it back out, I've laid it out on the floor, I've gone around and reinforced a few places. Definitely 3 pieces of masking tape seems pretty good for this job, and it gives it enough strength so that it keeps its shape. It should just take out quite nicely now. I've got to just transfer this onto the rubber, and then fingers crossed. There you go. You'd never be able to make anything like that sort of fit freehand. Well beyond my capabilities. Right, I'm going to get that transferred onto the rubber next. It's ribbed, this stuff. When I wanted the ribs to go across that way. Okay, I didn't want it to run in line with the floor. I wanted them to run the other way. Don't know why, perhaps a bit OCD of me. But this stuff was available in different widths, so I made sure that I bought the correct width to do the entire length, if you know what I'm saying. This is just stuff I bought off eBay. You can see I've got quite a sheet there. I can't remember exactly how big it is now, but it was 20 quid delivered to the door, so not going to grumble at that. So what I need to do is get it face side down, otherwise it's going to be around the wrong way. I'm going to cut it all out. I've done tricks like that in the past, I think we all have, haven't we? Cut it all out, you go to offer it up and it's round the wrong way. Because you've done it upside down. So do it upside down first, so that the outer face is underneath, of course. When we turn it around the other way, it's the right way up. So utilise the corner section. I'm going to set that right into the corner. And then that's 2 cuts I haven't got to make. I was going to mark it round with a white paint pen, but what I think I'm going to do is just masking tape it down to the rubber, and then use a steel ruler with a scalpel and then cut along the steel ruler. I think I'm going to get a neater job that way. Obviously the curved parts I'm going to have to do freehand, and it ain't going to be absolutely perfect, I appreciate that in advance. But as long as it looks neat and tidy and it fits quite well with no horrific gaps, that's the main thing I'm concerned about, really. The other thing as well is it's got to negotiate the bolts on the floor, which was a bit of an oversight when I fitted the floor down, because I put bolts through holding the floor down, because originally, you see, this would have been part of the shower, this floor, but because of the modifications I've made to things like the brakes, the batteries under there as well now, of course the brakes are under the seat. If this floor was welded back down again and I need to get the servo out, it would be incredibly hard doing that with all the floor welded back on the top. So I've just bolted the floor back down. Of course the heads of these stick up quite tall, so I don't know whether these are going to cause a huge issue. What I thought I could do is use some of that Velcro tape, because that's quite deep, so I thought it would hold it in place as well, because it's never going to stay in place, is it? If I just lay it on there, it's going to, you know, it's going to sort of roll down from the pedal side and it's going to keep kicking up here. So I thought I could Velcro it along there with Velcro tape all the way round. The tape's quite deep. I don't think it's deep enough to get rid of the head, so the heads may cause an issue yet, I don't know. Let's see. It's all taped down, and I got myself a scalpel with a brand new blade. I got a bit of guillotine cut steel. Of course the scalpel's trying to drive over here somewhere, which I knew it would, so I'm kind of angling the bias towards the rubber, steering it that way, otherwise you're just going to get a line that goes all over the place. That's a lovely straight line, I'm happy with that. Might have to change the blades a couple of times, I don't know. So I'll go along that. I'll get all the straight edges done first, and then I'll have a go at the curved bits afterwards. I feel like the blade's still sharp, but I feel like I'm having to work a lot harder with it, so I'm going to put a brand new blade in to cut around these parts, because the sharper that is, the more accurate the cut is going to be, I believe. Hey, that's all right. Really pleased with that. Just those bolt heads sticking up still. I'm wondering whether these heads will kind of force their way through it in the end. I don't know. I could put another piece of matting underneath just to sort of bulk it out a little bit more, if you know what I'm saying. I could do that. Am I just making myself more? I can actually see, yeah, you can see that it's sticking out. I mean, the only other thing is to get a flatter fit in, so I could get like a pan headed bolt, but these took hours to get in these. I think I'll Velcro it down first. I've got a bit of a fitment issue here. That's alright. That'll be alright, that'll be absolutely fine. Well, that's the way to do it anyway. Certainly it's much better than just trying to make or cut the mat to fit. You're never going to do it, are you? And that fits pretty good. The other thing I quite like about it as well is those lines are running horizontally rather than vertically. Something I don't really want to cover up are these internal wheel boxes, these tubs, because they just look so nice. But I have noticed that a lot of people put large amounts of rubber on these, and I think that looks a bit naff, because like I say, I like the look of the painted parts of the interior. I just think it looks so nice. But I have noticed that it's so easy just to catch the heel or the sole of your shoe on this part just here, and I just keep clipping it. Of course, eventually this is just going to turn into a scratch, and before we know it, we'll be through into the primer. So I'm just going to make a small little rubber pad just to go on there. So I've done exactly the same, put 3 layers of tape on there. I'm going to carefully peel that off, and I've Sharpied around a kind of nice shape that I'm happy with. I'll peel that off, see if I can make something that will fit into there. Of course, it's going to be stretched on the radius, so I don't want it to pucker up. So I've got my template made up. I don't think it looks too imposing, just that little bit there. I'm a little bit concerned because it's got a lot of curvature in this area. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to get the rubber to lie flat, because look at the shape going on there. This really reminds me of Ray Shalene's flexible shape pattern, I think he calls it. Very clever guy, Ray Shalene. If you've never seen any of his videos, go and check him out. And he's come up with this remarkably simple idea of putting, I think he kind of uses like tank tape, gaffer tape, you know, the reinforced type tape, layering it up on a panel in different directions, 2 or 3 layers, and then carefully peeling it off, powdering the back so that it doesn't stick. And then you've then got a 3-dimensional template, if you see that there. So then he makes a panel up, and then he lays this flexible shape pattern on the top, and he can tell whether he's got enough curvature in the panel. What a wonderful, straightforward, simple and fantastic idea. Really, really good. So this really reminds me of that, although I hadn't set out to do that in the first place. It's reminded me. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll make a bit of rubber up. See, it won't lie flat, so there's gonna have to be some gathering. I was just gonna velcro this on here, so I suppose if I really wanted to get carried away, which I won't, but I suppose I could have cut some slots in it and gathered it up, used the velcro tape to hold the gathers together, but it's all getting a bit carried away for what I want to do. I bought some of this locked together foam flooring stuff from B&Q, and it's made a great kind of underlay, because what I want to do is just rise the level up slightly to cover these bolt heads so that the rubber matting hasn't got to negotiate the bolt heads. Of course the bolt heads are just going to wear through the rubber matting, and when it settles it's going to look awful as well. So I've used this, it's worked really, really well. I'm not going to glue this down, I'm just going to lie it in there, and I'm just going to put a velcro strip along this edge. It all seems, the actual rubber, when it's laid down, it just seems to lie in there so nicely. I don't think it's going to need any more securing than that. I've I did use some velcro to hold that pad, and it looked absolutely horrific because it was stood out so proud, and you could see down the side of the velcro. It looked awful. So I've just used some contact adhesive on that, and that's stuck on there really well. Of course, because it's rubber, it's stretched out, so it's let nice and flat as well. The other thing about this stuff, which is quite good, I've got my angle grinder and I've just ground it off where I want the rubber matting to flow into something. So I'm going to stick some velcro along there. That's a bit lower than this matting. Rather than there being a big heavy step, I've just chamfered that off nicely there and there. And yeah, it just with the angle grinder, it just sands down really, really nicely. All finished. Looks a bit odd on the camera, I think, because it's just so dark it just shuts the camera down. But I think you get the idea, and I think it is an improvement, definitely, on having nothing in there at all. I think it makes the van look more finished off now. And I've just got some velcro along there just to hold that edge in place. I think that edge held in place will keep the rest in place. What I'm going to do on the other side is I'm going to do something a little bit different, because the engine covers so much further over to the passenger side, so it eats into the floor well far more on the passenger side, and the only place to put your feet is on the wheel tub. So I'm just going to put a little bit of matting on the floor just down there, and then just a little bit of a pad on that wheel well. Well, that's another job I can cross off the list. Absolutely brilliant to be on the final finishing stages of the van. I don't know quite what I'll do next time. Maybe I'll do a metal shaping one for you guys next. Anyway, I may be able to upload that in the next couple of days, so I'll see you then. It's been great spending some time with you guys. Bye for now.